Good morning, everybody. My name is Mason Albright, and I'm going to be telling you what I have accomplished so far this semester working on my Senior Sem project. I've been working on something that I'm simply calling voting application and web server. My mentor is a guy by the name of Jake Harrington. He's a good friend and ex-coworker of mine, and he currently works for a front-end web developer called Infor. So what am I doing? I'm developing a web server voting application using the mean stack. Now you might have heard of something called the LAMP stack. It's a lot more commonly used in today's commercial and professional world. I had never heard of the mean stack prior to this project. Now mean is an acronym and it's derived from MongoDB or Mongo database, Express.js, AngularJS, and Node.js. These are all elements that make up what is referred to as the mean stack. Now, why did I choose this project? Well, ultimately, I've been going through a series of interviews and job applications, as I'm sure most of you have, and I've been coming across a pretty common theme, and that's employers' interest in my experience with the LAMP stack or full stack development in general. And I don't have much to tell them. I have little experience with database, reading to and writing from them, but ultimately outside of academics I had no real world experience, and I thought this was a great opportunity to learn something like this so I can actually have conversations with potential employers in the future, referring to full stack development. In addition to that, I also have a personal need or a want for this product. I can use it in my free time. And because of that, it keeps me interested, it keeps me invested, more so than just, oh, this is just another homework assignment. I've personal interest in it. And because of that, I've enjoyed this project. So what are my main accomplishments so far? At the very beginning of this project, I had almost no experience. Outside of River Falls, I had no experience with the elements that I've decided to work on with this project. So in the beginning, the majority of my workload was learning what I'm going to be working with. I was learning, oh, what is MongoDB? What is Express? What's Angular? What's Node? And what can they do? It was very much a zero experience type situation for me. Didn't even know where to begin. So I just started reading beginner's guides and watching tutorials, doing tutorials. I set up lots of servers, lots of databases, just kind of side mini projects to gain kind of a foothold, gain an understanding of how these things work. Once I was comfortable doing this, I decided to set forth on production of my project here. I set up my server, I set up my database, my MongoDB, and fairly quickly I was able to establish a connection between the two with read and write capabilities. The results of this, I became familiar with stack elements, and through the advice of my mentor, who said that this project would be better suited using mean over the lamp stack, I chose to work with the mean instead of the lamp. I had a functioning web server using all elements of the mean stack: MongoDB, Express, Angular, and Node. After I had this up and running, I wanted to implement something called Socket IO. What this is ultimately it's a real-time communication device that Express.js can use. And this is good because when you have a web server that has multiple users on it, you need it to update in real time. So prior to implementing Socket.io, if I had two separate web browsers up, both with my web server, and let's say on this first web browser, I decided to write to the database. It works just fine, and it would update on web browser 1. The list, my game list, would get one item longer. However, on my second web browser, it would remain the same until I refreshed the page, and then it would send out a request to that database, fetch the information from that, and it would be updated on the page. So you had to deliberately reload the page before you could see the changes made. Socket.io fixed this. It now updates in real time, so when I add an item from the first web browser, the second browser automatically gets updated without the user having to refresh the page. After I completed this, I moved the materials over to the Raspberry Pi, and it is functional with Linux. I am using Ubuntu. This was pretty simple. I originally made this on Windows, so it was a little bit of a hassle to get it moved over, but it went fairly smoothly. The results of this is that now the server is able to update in real time with bidirectional event-based communication, and this allows for a lot more transparent communication between the web server and the database to the users. The users can see what's going on a lot better, a lot faster, with a lot more clarity. Moving it onto the Raspberry Pi also offered a certain element of portability, because now you can take this web server with you to any LAN that you go to, anybody's house. On the left here I have a screenshot of what is currently set up as my web page. It's nothing beautiful, but it gets the job done. As you can see, we have a game list set up at the top, and it has a certain number of elements here, like the game name, mods if you want to use it, number of players, game mode. So simple functionality is you can click, let's say you want to click on this WoW link here. It'll change the game information box to the left, and it'll update it with the WoW entry. If you say, oh, we don't want to play this game anymore, let's remove it from the list, you have to simply click the delete button. A warning message pops up, are you sure you want to delete this? Hit yes, it goes away, updates in real time. Thank you, Socket.io. Voting is simple and straightforward enough. You simply click the +1 when you want to vote for something, or click the -1 when you want to unvote for something. And this vote column updates in real time. If you want to add a game to the list, you put in the information in these text boxes down here and click Add Game. It adds a new item onto the end of this game list, and everybody can see it no matter where you are on the LAN, as long as you have access to the web server. And the same for users at the bottom here. Now there are some limitations to this. It is not the most aesthetically pleasing, as you saw. However, this wasn't the purpose of my project, and so I'm okay with that. It does have to be manually installed. Most projects come with an installer, and you just click a shortcut and next, and it installs it for you. I don't have anything of that nature, and so if you don't know how to install it, it might be very difficult or impossible to install. Also at this time, it does not start up when you boot up the system. You have to manually start it once Linux is on. But that leads into my future work, because I want that to be automated startup, and that's what I'm going to be working on this weekend. Hopefully have it wrapped up by Sunday. I'm also going to ensure multi-computer connectivity, making sure that everybody on the network can access this web server. That'll also be done by this Sunday. I've also thought about adding in a chat box and a whiteboard as added functionality. Well, that sums up my project to date. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you guys in class.